there, welcome back to Move with Joe. In today's video, we are going to be exploring movements of the shoulder and how to move more efficiently, reduce muscular effort and tension, and find better skeletal support so that we don't end up injuring our shoulder or creating tension that could lead to pain later down the road. So to start today's lesson, please come to lie on your back. So when you arrive on your back, just take a moment to become present and notice the contact with the floor. So hopefully you're on a more firm surface. If you're on a very soft carpet, it'd be a little bit more difficult to discern these suggestions or questions that I'm about to ask. But notice as you're lying here, you can place your hands along beside your torso, legs straight, and just notice the contact difference between the left shoulder and the right shoulder. And you can notice the difference between the rib cage on the left and the right. You may notice that one side presses more deeply into the floor or surface that you're on. And then bring your attention into the pelvis and notice which side of your pelvis, which hip, has more weight going down into the floor. And then go ahead and roll onto your left side. And if you'd like a prop for your head, you can, but it's also not necessary. But if you find that you're straining with your head on the floor, feel free to use a prop to position your head. And you're going to bring both hands directly out, elbows straight. And with your top hand, your right hand and arm, you're going to just begin to lift just enough to unweight the arm and place it back down, keeping the elbow straight. And I want you to just begin to notice that first sense of effort, noticing the weight of the arm. And begin to notice, where do you organize to make this movement from? And I forgot to mention, you're going to place both knees slightly bent, and the right knee is going to be in front of the left knee. And so, again, slowly lift a few more times with the right hand. And then slowly begin to lift the arm up towards the ceiling, but you're going to move very slowly. And I want you to pay attention to the sensation of how the weight in your arm changes. At what point does it become light or lighter? And when does it become heavier? And so you're going to try and make the movement of bringing the arm up towards the ceiling. Again, keeping the elbow locked and trying to maintain the same slow speed through the range, so you really begin to notice the sense of weight when you begin to just lift the arm. So just lift it up to the ceiling or wherever is comfortable for you, and then slowly bring it down. Good. On the next one, you're going to begin to make the movement, but this time you're going to trace the movement with your head and your eyes. So as you bring the hand up, the head and the eyes come up with it. And then you'll slowly bring the hand back down. And notice what changes to the sense of weight as you move with your head and your eyes, tracking the hand, and you bring it back down. How does that change the sense of weight and effort? So one of the things that you can tune into in terms of noticing the quality of your movement is your breath. And at what point do you notice that you might hold your breath? If you start moving too fast and you have to catch yourself, that's oftentimes a time where you might notice your breath being held. And then go ahead and give yourself a break. Roll onto your back for a moment. And just roll out the head a little right, a little left. And bring your hands across your chest so that the elbows come up towards the ceiling. You can, if it's comfortable, you can grab onto the scapula in the back. And just go ahead and roll with your head back and forth. The elbows go in the same direction. The rib cage rolls with the back and the head. Back and forth. And then take it the opposite direction. So the elbows move left as the head moves right. And then the elbows right as the head moves left. And so we begin to differentiate some of the habitual ways that we move, creating some constraints in our system, but doing it in a gentle way, allowing your body to just move within the range that's comfortable and easy. All right, let that rest. Bring the arms down by your side. And take a moment to tune in, and if you really pay attention to the differences from when you first lay down your back, you may even begin to notice, even after this short exploration, that there's already some changes occurring with the quality and the sense of contact with the floor. So you may notice more of you is in contact with the floor. Maybe some of the back muscles are relaxing. It's almost as if the floor is softening or you're softening to the floor. And then go ahead and roll back onto your left side, again with the right knee slightly in front of the left knee, both hands out to your side. If you need something to support your head, you can grab that and place it underneath the head. And once again, just make the movement so that you just lift the arm, keeping the head in place. Nice and slow, and you bring it back down. And you may notice that even the arm is beginning to feel a little lighter. And then go ahead and place the right hand on your forehead. So the elbow is pointing up towards the ceiling, and slowly begin to roll the head with your hand, taking the elbow up towards the ceiling. You may even go a little bit past the ceiling if it's comfortable, and then roll it back. So we're going back and forth. Again, moving in an easy, comfortable speed. And notice whether or not you are just rolling over top of yourself, meaning the right side of you is rolling over top of the left, or is there some way that your left side is actually beginning to partake in the movement? So most of you will begin to notice that the ribs on the left are actually rolling across the floor as you make the movement. But what would it be like if you actually began to engage those ribs with the floor? You can imagine it's almost like a tire creating contact with the floor and rolling you, so as if to roll yourself underneath. The left rolls underneath the right. And that can create a completely different sense of rolling. And it's something that if you were a more skilled wrestler or a person who does jujitsu, you might not have words for it, but there's this applied principle of finding the support from the floor and being able to leverage that through your system. Excellent. All right, bring the right hand back on top of the left. And once again, begin to lift the right arm, keeping the elbow straight, and let the head and the eyes move with the arm. Bringing it up and back down. And this time, begin to reach the arm out. You can imagine your fingers were the end of a paintbrush and you wanted to begin to create this big, long arc, painting this beautiful arc up through the sky, and you're reaching out through the shoulder. And then you're painting the arc back. And again, just notice the quality of the movement, the ease of the movement. And what changes to the weight of the arm when you have this sense of reaching out, lengthening yourself as you make this big arc movement. Imagine painting the sky with your fingers, lengthening out through the arm. And then as a comparison, notice what would happen if you, with that same paintbrush and the fingertips, but you wanted to constrict the arch to make it as short as you could without bending the elbow. So you keep the arm straight, but you compress the arc and make it as small as you can with a straight arm. What happens to the sense of ease, the sense of comfort, the quality of the movement? You may notice that there's a change in the tension of the ribs. And what happens to your scapula as you make the movement here in a shortened, compressed arc? How is it different than what we were just doing previously? Good. And then once again, go back to a longer arc, painting, reaching out through the arm, allowing the head and the ribs and the eyes to move with the arm. Bringing it back down. You could even bring it all the way to the floor if it was comfortable for you in the back. Certainly not necessary. Noticing how you're engaging the ribs, what's happening with the legs. Excellent. Great. Go ahead and roll back onto your back. Again, just notice the sense of support from the floor. For myself, I notice a much greater improvement in terms of the connection to the floor, so there's more of my rib cage in contact with the floor. There's a sense of more softness in the shoulders, more of the shoulder girdles touching the floor. And there's more balance from side to side. So these are some of many different things that people may experience. And so we'll roll up here and all right, so this was just a quick demonstration of a movement principle of distributing effort through the whole of yourself to make a movement easier. So initially, when we first began to lift the arm and just moved from the arm, there was a significantly heavier sense to the arm. Although the arm's weight didn't change, as we began to bring in movement from the rib cage, through the head and the eyes, and started to even involve the pelvis in the movement, all of a sudden the movement became lighter and lighter. This is one of the many different movement principles that we'll be exploring in my upcoming 4-week series on the shoulders and the arms, freeing the shoulders and the arms. So if you have any questions about today's lesson, feel free to leave them in the comment box. I'll put a link to the class below. And please hit the like and subscribe button. And let me know what you're interested in learning about more next time. So particularly if there's any questions about your shoulder or how you're organizing your shoulder, that would be great. I'd love to hear your comments, and we'll see you next time.